Someone once told me that the smartest thing you can do is lie about your trauma to other people. Sometimes there's people like me where it's like you kind of have to explain your trauma to people. Otherwise, certain things will just like scare them. Because love will always find you even when you're trying to hide from it, and simply put, so will your fucking trauma. And so sometimes those twos are always destined to collide. But for some people who have easier trauma or have done the work and healed and went to therapy and yada yada yada, even then, people say don't tell other people about your trauma because the world isn't that good of a place yet. This woman online, she was 7, as well as a few other people, said lie about your trauma. Or specifically, just for like a little bit, like a small little white lie, just slip something in. Because then it's kind of like a, I don't have a word for it, it's on the tip of my tongue, but let's just say it sets a trap for them that they will walk into. And, like, let's say, like a sticky rat trap. You know, a human can walk over those easily. Like someone who has human empathy and intelligence and heart and soul, a rat will get stuck. So it could even be something like, ooh, I have an irrational fear of snakes, because, and you could just like say a super fucked up story that happened to you when you were young or whatever. Like, ooh, yeah, my mom put me in a den filled with snakes and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, a bad guy will be like, oh, that's terrible. But then over time, he might do something like try to prank you by putting like a fake snake in your bed or whatever. And then imagine that instead of you crashing out and crying and screaming or like, you know, having the emotional, horrified reaction you want, you just stare him in the face and silently pack up your things and leave. He's gonna get pissed off and you get to save yourself from being with a man who's like that. Or hell, you could like it works in many different ways. Or you could just lie and say that you aren't very close with your dad, or that your dad did something really, really fucked up to you. Like, oh yeah, my dad said that I was never going to grow up to be someone who was smart and intelligent, and he used to abandon me and my mother to cheat. Well, you don't have to go that hard. But simply put, I know a woman who did. And then simply put, when eventually her and her man got into a fight, I forget how long they were a thing for, but eventually he pulled the excuse of, that's why your dad left. See, this is the type of shit which is why your dad didn't think you were worth sticking around your mother, and I can show you the way. And like, she just kind of was like, and then guess what? She never saw his ass again. And he was like, what the fuck? It was like he was trying to make her feel emotionally break down. Like he was trying to make her feel distress, and that backfired. Now, trigger warning for sexual assault. Sorry that I don't do this in more videos, but I'm going to share my own personal tale that I wish sadly I left at. I remember at some point with my ex from this passing summer, the one we don't say the name of. I remember there was a point with him when things were actually going good, where like, I don't know, we had just started having sex with each other, like roughly. And he was like, or like, not roughly, but I'm saying like we started having sex with each other around that time, is what I mean. And I remember I said something about like, oh yeah, I remember we were in a car in the Concord area, and I said, oh, by the way, if I kind of freeze up or get a little weird or anything, it's just because I'm nervous, because this one dude I knew who I lost my virginity to in high school, he kind of like lives in the city, and I'm kind of nervous to see him. And he was like, why would you be nervous? And I said, let's just say that there's a bit of trauma there and some weird stuff involving deep throating. And he was like, you could tell me about it. But something about the way he said it was off. And I said, no, it's okay. He said, you should tell me about it. I was like, no, I'm good. And he kind of kept insisting, but I basically said, it's really nothing to it. I don't want to, I'll put it this way. If anything, he's just not the best guy. And I did some shit to him, and let's just say, I hope I don't see him again. And that's all there is to it. It would just make me uncomfortable. But I still kept note of this interaction, and I forget when it was after, but at some point, like, mind you, when I first started dating this asshole, I remember he loved how I sucked his dick, but he even told me, oh yeah, I'm not much of a deep throat person. Like, I don't like that as much as, like, sucking the tip, or the shaft, or, like, that little slurp, suck, tongue motion you do. Because deep throat, it's like, I don't really feel anything back there. But then once he had a suspecting feeling that there was any sort of, like, sexual abuse I faced that involved deep throating, guess what suddenly his favorite thing was? And I remember it specifically came out of nowhere. I think I was giving him roadhead or whatever. And then this man goes out of his way to grab me by the back of my head and just shove me down as hard as possible. Like, to the point where it's like damn near trying to break my nose on his fat ass pelvis. Shoving my head down. And then, you know, I kind of heard him smirk a little bit. Or, like, kind of seem as if he was happy. And I remember that at some point he realized I was not gagging whatsoever. And then I came up for air, and he just was kind of shocked. He was like, you don't feel pain from that? I said, no. I I'm really good at deep throating. He was like, yeah, but you are? Like that good? And I said, yeah. And he just was confused, and I explained. I said, I never have any trauma surrounding deep throating. I'm actually extremely good at it. The guy in Concord, I just have a past with for many other reasons, because he was an asshole. But I have no issue with deep throating. It's not like a traumatic trigger for me. If anything, I'm skilled at it. I can stay down there as long as possible. And it was just so weird, cuz then he seemed kind of disappointed, as if it's like, "Oh no, I didn't get to hurt my hot loving girlfriend through sexual means. This isn't fun. I can't believe she enjoyed it." But yeah, mind you, like I think that happened like one or two times before we had that big interaction. I should have left him sooner. It was a hard relationship to leave. Let's just say I'm glad I'm out, and let's just say to this day I hope my ex-boyfriend Jared Veras fucking kills himself. Yes. Bye.